Alright, Tyler, aka Kiahu Kahuanui. Let's do this. I'm a terrible narrator, by the way, so I apologize. I'm actually going to read Christian's, the one that you requested. So, let's do this. Alright. Scott groaned. Seriously, Styles, do we have to? Styles looked back at his best friend incredulously as he put the DVD in. Scott, there's a basic fundamental issue with you not seeing Star Wars. Buck the fuck up. Scott rolled his eyes as his best friend plopped down on the couch next to him. He knew he wasn't going to win this fight, so he decided he'd make the best of it. He reached into his pocket and pulled out the blunt he had rolled earlier just for the occasion, wiggling it a little for Styles. Want a toke? Styles looked at him and raised an eyebrow. We're never going to get to watch this movie, are we? Scott smiled as he put the rolled piece of paper between his lips and pulled out his lighter. Mom's working the night shift, you're spending the night. Of course I'm more interested in this than some dumb movie. He took a long drag as Styles rolled his eyes, holding his hand out for the blunt as Scott handed it to him. Within half hour, they were already giggling at the Jawa speech. But seriously, Styles said, like, everyone's seen Star Wars. Only insects who live under rocks have never seen Star Wars. Are you a bug that lives under a rock? Scott shook his head wildly, giggling again. I'm a werewolf, not a bug. Styles licked his lips after he released a puff of the sweet-smelling smoke, entrancing Scott with how the boy's tongue glided over the impossibly plump-looking lips. Oh my God. He bit his own and leaned forward. Styles, come here. Styles looked over and raised an eyebrow, smirking. He leaned in just as Scott took another drag of his blunt, leaning forward as well to press his lips to Styles and breathe the smoke into the other boy's lungs. Styles pulled away and tilted his head up, blowing the smoke out into the air with an amused grin. So I guess we've gotten to that part of the sleepovers, huh? Scott nodded emphatically before smiling. Race you to the bed. Styles nearly tripped over the back of the couch as he flew over it. The two of them scrambling up the stairs in a roar of laughter, shirts flying off and onto the hallway floor before Scott tackled Styles to the bed, grinning like an idiot. I win. Excuse me, Styles laughed. I believe I touched the bed first, so technically I won. Scott shrugged as he leaned in, mumbling against Styles' lips. Semantics. Styles gave a soft moan as he writhed under Scott, their lips melding together as the wolf lowered his hands to his best friend's waist, stroking the skin softly. They had been doing this for a while now, something that had started back at the beginning of freshman year. A few hits off a bong would send the two of them into a sexual frenzy, and since Styles seemed pretty fluid with his sexuality, he never complained about the process. Something, though, had been itching in the back of his head. Styles, he breathed, pulling back away from his friend, admiring the boy's splotched blush. How does it feel? Styles licked his lips and sat up on his elbows, his lips hovering in front of Scott's. How does what feel? Me. Inside you. Styles' eyes widened for a moment before he gave a lazy grin. It's nice. Hot. It's really sort of, well, it's... Styles bit his lip and thought about it a moment. It's sexy knowing someone's inside you and that, well, like you feel them enjoying you. Scott's blush began to show through his tan skin, his teeth worrying his lip as he listened. But like, how does it feel? Styles nodded a little. Well, I mean, it hurts at first, and then it's weird, but after you get over that, well, it feels amazing. Plus, he leaned in, licking Scott's bottom lip softly. There's a spot inside that you always touch that makes my cock twitch. Scott gave a low groan as he pressed his lips into Styles, his own achingly hard cock straining against his shorts as he pressed back into Styles, murmuring against his lips. Maybe I could try it. Styles froze and pulled back with a smirk, quirking his eyebrow at his best friend. You want me to top you? Scott felt his ears turn pink as he broke eye contact. I mean, yeah, I figured I should at least try it. Styles nodded and pulled back, pressing his lips down to Scott's as he then flipped them over, pulling his long, fingers down Scott's sides to the band of his shorts. He pulled them down slowly as he inched his body down Scott's chest with wet kisses, licking the boy's nipple for a long minute before trailing back down his abs to his groin. He freed Scott's cock from its confines and let the shorts drop to his ankles, leaning in to kiss the skin above the werewolf's dick. Scott watched in lewd fascination as Styles sized up his prey and licked the underside, making the werewolf give a deep groan in approval. The human, taking the sound as encouragement, proceeded to suckle at Scott's tip before sliding down his leg, dragging his tongue along the underside as he pulled back up to the tip. Scott watched his friend bop up and down on his cock, thinking for a moment that his ex-girlfriend couldn't give head quite like Styles ever could. His lips were meant for lewd things like this, and from the way the boy looked up at him while he sucked Scott, he could tell he loved doing it. Styles released the boy's cock with a loud pop before he nodded up to him. "Where's your stuff?" Scott fumbled for a moment as he leaned up and over to his bedside table, pulling out the lube and a condom and handing them to Styles. The other boy nodded and pushed Scott back into the bed, climbing up and lifting the werewolf's legs over his thighs so his calves hooked around them. "Alright, this is going to feel weird, but just relax, okay?" Scott nodded nervously as he moved his hands anxiously, not entirely sure where they should go, as Styles poured a bit of lube onto Scott's cock and stroked it a few times to lube his hand up. Scott decided to put his hands behind his head as he watched his friend lower his hand down between his legs, his fingers softly pressing at Scott's entrance. The werewolf bit his lip as Styles pushed inside, going to a knuckle as Scott began to feel the burn. "Relax, Scott, relax," Styles soothed, using his other hand to pump the wolf's cock lazily as his fingers delved deeper into him. Scott felt strange and almost wanted it to stop, but as Styles turned his finger, he felt something get pressed that made him give a sharp moan. That, Styles grinned, would be your prostate. Scott gave a few ragged breaths as Styles curled his finger inside him, his cock suddenly dripping pre-cum as his abs tensed under the shooting sensations. "God, Styles!" Styles smiled and without warning inserted a second finger, making Scott hiss for a long moment before Styles was twisting inside him, making the boy squirm from the feeling. "Styles!" Styles licked his lips, pulling his fingers out before he began to stroke himself. "Flip over." Scott nodded and did as he was told, getting on his hands and knees as Styles tore the wrapping on his condom and rolled it unto himself. Scott felt an arm wrap around his waist and pull him up to a kneeling position. He leaned back into Styles' chest as the boy pressed his tip against his entrance. "Tell me if it's uncomfortable. I'll go slow," Styles mumbled as he pressed inside. Scott gave a low groan as he felt his friend slowly fill him, the other boy's length sheathing itself inside him. He could feel a burn, of course, but after Styles was as far as he could go, he relaxed around him, a hand reaching back to squeeze Styles' thigh. All right, move." Styles gave a grunt as he pulled back, out and thrust in, sending sparks across Scott's vision as he moaned. He breathed heavily as the other boy began to pump in and out of him, mumbling beautifully filthy things in his ears. "Jesus, Scott. God, you feel so good. I'm going to enjoy being inside you when you come. I want to hear you squeeze around me as I fuck you." Scott gave a soft whimper and groaned as Styles wrapped his fingers around his cock, stroking it in time with his thrusts. He felt inside grow closer and closer, the house filling with the sounds of slapping skin and moaned grunts. Styles, I'm..." Scott gave a low groan as he felt his cock twitch and tense as cum filled his length. He gasped as it suddenly shot out and across the sheets, leaking down over Styles' hand as the boy moaned behind him. He gave a low groan as he felt his friend's cock twitch over and over inside him, the sure sign that Styles was coming too. Styles gave a low breath and pressed his lips to Scott's shoulder. "Fuck, man, fuck." Scott nodded and gave a whimper as Styles pulled out of him, letting him fall forward onto the bed. Styles got up and tied off the condom before shoving it to the bottom of the trash. He gave a loud breath and laughed. "You look pleased." Scott nodded into his pillow as he felt Styles join him, laying there next to him as they basked in their afterglow. He knew they were going to have to clean the sheets and Febreze the house, but right now they were content in lying in the aftermath, the sounds of their breathing filling their senses before they both began to chuckle and laugh at nothing in particular. I hope that was okay. I'm like flushed. Oh, alright.